when it comes to our ability as a church, it's interesting to me that Ron Lewis, talked about diversity and what he's able to accomplish, and I'm excited about that. I think the challenge for a black pastor is different. I think that black people are more accustomed to following white leadership than white people are accustomed to following black leadership, and I think that's a fact. My hope when Obama won the presidency would be that the playing field would level, and that someone like myself that has the 16th fastest, well, according to some magazines, one of the fastest growing churches in America. And I moved here 14 years ago and started this church in 2003. I have the most watched religious program in the Triangle area. My church is 97% African American. And that is because at this current time, I believe that when it comes to the church, it is challenging for white people to be a minority in the church. And it is challenging for white people to follow black leadership. And the thing that I love about what I heard Ron say today, and what I would love to hear from white leadership, is their ability to address the racism that is inherent within their own culture. And I think that when that happens, and then we will then be able to say, okay, now we're really free. Right now, because we are able to have white leadership that ministers to black people, it's a good start. But I said to Ron years ago that we will know that we have reached racial reconciliation not when black people go to your church, but when white people are right about going to my church.
Pastor Thompson, pass the microphone next to Pastor Kelly there. Pastor Kelly, we heard what Pastor Thompson said just now. What's your response when you hear that? That perhaps black parishioners are just more accustomed to being led by white leadership than vice versa. Is this a conversation that we're not having? We need to talk more.
Yes, I definitely think we do, and I definitely think there's a ton of truth in that. Now, as a white pastor with an incredibly racially diverse church, I can't fully understand what he's saying. I've been, in the you might not believe this, but I've been white my whole life. And so as a white man, and it's really hard, I can't even see these people out here, but I'm sure you look beautiful. But as a white man being in the privileged position my whole life, I think when we started New Hope Church and we started seeing racial diversity from moment one, and I think we can talk more about that later, how that happens. And then we started launching campuses, and I wouldn't even be at the campuses, and they launched with a very diverse DNA. I started to think about why that's the case and started to think about exactly what you said, Pastor Andy. I think there's a lot of truth to that. And I think that we can get into the reasons why, but I think it is because white folks have a tendency to struggle coming under the authority and the leadership of an African American. And I think we should talk about that a lot. And I think in our churches, we should talk about it. We can make diversity across the board.